And you can see what happened then. They kicked in the door, knocking out 2 panels right there. Once they were inside this house, and here's the house right behind me, they immediately went to the 3 adults. They forced all of them on the floor. So she's ignored us all week.
But she's had to.
She did not go to any city council meetings on this issue. You all take government money. It's very important that she explain what happened here. Michael, what's your first priority right now?
The number 2 question is, does this have anything to do with Michael Vick?
This woman's name here is Solomon Pierre, and these are her 2 children. Last week when the earthquake happened, she was running to save her children from falling bricks when she fell herself. All week, we called the STOP organization to get answers about whether it was truly committed to being part of the Midtown Tower project. After all, taxpayer dollars were on the line. We finally went to STOP's headquarters looking for CEO Regina Lawrence.
I'm sure she'll get back to you. She is not the kind of person to ignore you. So
she's ignored us all week.
But she's had to.
She did not go to any city council meetings on this issue. You all take government money. It's very important that she explain what happened here. Moments later, Regina Lawrence emerged.
In a minute. Just give me a minute. I just came out of one meeting, okay?
Okay, we'll wait.
Are you recording?
Yeah. Yes, we are recording. Lawrence agreed to talk to us and then dropped a bombshell. She says she told the developer last year the STOP organization could not afford to be part of the project.
We can't afford the rent.
So why did she let the city waste time, hold a town hall meeting, take a vote on a project she knew would never happen? Why did Lawrence not blow the whistle? This has been discussed since December.
Maybe I should hire you to talk for me. Couldn't she? Anyone could have done a whole lot of things differently in everybody's eyesight. But this is all hindsight.
As for the developer, he says he really believed STOP was a go. He says, just like us, he never heard otherwise from Lawrence.
She never called me and sounded the alarm.
Never emailed you?
She never emailed me. No. Even through all this news media, she never did it. If Miss Lawrence would have picked up the phone and called you, Virginia Pilot, the city, Dwight, or anybody else, it would have killed it in.
As far as City Council is concerned, the project is as good as dead. Etheridge says for now the project is not dead, but is on life support. HRT's rail operations supervisor told me this is technology he would have liked to have put on the Tide. After all, the NTSB says it should be on every train. But even though it has saved lives, HRT says it was just too expensive. On the Tide, it will be up to train drivers alone to keep trains from crashing. But why?
With the limited funds that we had at the time, the automatic block signal system was the only thing that we could afford.
Automatic block signaling is a fancy way to describe stoplights for trains.
The trolley operator who died in the crash ignored a stop signal.
This was the aftermath in the Boston area in 2008, where a trolley driver collided with another train after falling asleep. Or worse, Los Angeles in 2008. A train driver texting ran through 2 signals and rear-ended another train, killing 25 passengers and injuring more than 100.
Train versus another train. People are bleeding and hurt here.
Neither rail systems had positive train control, but both are adding it now. The Tide will not have positive train control, but will have this. It's called a dead man switch. The driver has to push this ball in order to make this train move. If for whatever reason the driver lets off that switch, the train will begin to stop after 2 seconds. But a dead man switch is not enough for the National Transportation Safety Board. The NTSB points out, what if a driver isn't dead but just not alert, or breaking the rules and texting or checking Facebook? The NTSB says train operators can face multiple simultaneous distractions, dense fog, fatigue, or just plain inattention. The NTSB wants positive train control on all rail systems, but has no authority to require it, so HRT can run the Tide without the critical safety feature. Do you know how much it would have cost to install positive train control or some type of automated device on this system?
You know, I don't. I know that it was cost prohibitive. Wasn't a little bit of money. It was a lot of money.
Millions?
Many millions.
Rick Shapiro is a rail litigator who studies fatal train crashes.
One accident is all you need for people to say it wouldn't have been that expensive to have positive train control.
Bill Brinkman says he knew the night he went to search Michael Vick's property the first time, he'd end up losing his job of nearly 10 years. And you knew you were getting fired when you did what?
When I executed that search warrant.
The very first search warrant.
That very night, I knew I was done.
Brinkman says from day one, he was at odds with the county's lead prosecutor, Gerald Poindexter, and Sheriff Harold Brown. He believes neither man wanted Vic prosecuted.
I brought light to Surrey County, and they don't care for that. They don't want outside intrusions.
Weeks ticked by with no sign Poindexter intended on indicting Vic or anyone in the case. We caught up with Poindexter a month after that initial raid. Any closer to indictments after this meeting today?
Could be. While I was on site for the 3 days, Mr. Poindexter and the sheriff both came on site and saw the physical evidence in place. But yet, during the election process and everything, they're saying they never saw nothing. They never got nothing. Well, I'm here to say they saw it right in place.
What did they see?
They saw the blood splatters. They saw the training apparatuses. They saw the areas of the dogs being kept in.
Poindexter called off a search of Vic's property to look for decaying dogs, saying the warrant was not legally sound. Brinkman disagreed and became convinced the case was slipping away. Did you ever call the feds and say, you guys have got to step in because this is not happening here in Surrey County?
Yes.
What did you say?
I told him I think we're going to see a case go away.
Days later, the feds took over, searching the property, unearthing dead dogs, one with 17 broken bones from being slammed into the ground. The U.S. Attorney's Office indicted Vic, who 3 months later pleaded guilty to a conspiracy dogfighting charge. While the U.S. Attorney's Office gave Brinkman an award for his work on the Vic case, Surrey County gave him the boot. 2 days after Vic was sentenced to 23 months in prison, the sheriff fired Brinkman. What did he say about that? Why did he fire you?
Going in a different direction.
No details beyond that.
No details.
Brinkman describes his 9 years before the Vic case as perfect. Now he's selling his house, wanting nothing more to do with Surrey County after Michael Vick. Would you do it again?
Knowing I know now, I'd have to do it again. That's me.
They did. They said they called again and again, but with no luck. They called the Department of Defense dozens of times, but their numbers stayed published online and their phone just kept ringing. For the Hancocks, the serenity of country life ends at the door. Inside, the phone will not stop ringing. Almost always the wrong number.
Hello?
66-year-old Joe Hancock says he's losing his mind.
And I counted 7 phone calls this morning in 15 minutes. And that's ridiculous.
Trouble began with a typo. The Defense Department mistakenly listed the Hancock's number as a customer service line for military families. The real number is 1 digit off.
I have started from scratch.
Hancock, constantly tinkering with his truck, always takes the calls, afraid he might miss someone calling about delivering a part, and he won't get a new home phone number.
I've had this phone number for 45 years now. I'm not going to change it because we got jerks down there that's putting up the wrong numbers on their website.
Hancock tried constantly to get his number removed from the web, but says he always got the runaround.
I have called down there probably 50 times myself.
Finally, he called 13 News. We called a media contact for the Defense Finance and Accounting Service who acted fast.
But that customer service number, which was the offending phone number, has now been deleted.
What do you think of that?
It sounds wonderful. I hope you're right.
Well, I know it's been deleted because I did it.
By midday, the number was off the internet and the phone was silent. Hancock talked to about a dozen military men and women a day who were calling the wrong number. He wanted to make it clear he does not blame them for mistakenly calling him, saying he could never repay them for what they do each day. Patrick Terpstra, 13 News.